Yehudi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Kavela.
Parashat B'Shalach, or Freedom's Watershed Moment. Finally, Pharaoh releases the Jews. Changing his mind, Pharaoh pursues the Jews instead. The miracle at the sea. God splits the waters, but only the Jews march through. Moses and Israel sing the Song of the Sea in gratitude for God's miracle. God provides water, manna, and quail for the Jews to survive in the desert. The moment of freedom had finally arrived, and it didn't go the way we might expect. When God leads the Israelites out of Egypt, God does not take them directly to Israel. Here's the verse. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, though it was closer. For God said, the people might have a change of heart when they see war and return to Egypt. So God doesn't go directly to Israel because they may get scared and want to go back home to Egypt. Instead, God takes them on a circuitous path because they're not going to run away then. And this teaches a lesson. It teaches that sometimes the harder way is the better way. And that when we earn something, we grow more in the process. We appreciate it more. This reminds me of a story in the Talmud of the long path that's short and the short path that's long. There was a rabbi named Yehoshua ben Hananiah who was walking to the city, and he didn't know exactly how to get there. So he asked this boy sitting at the intersection, how do I get to the city? And the boy pointed in both directions. He said, this path is long but short, but that path is short but long. A little confusing, right? So the rabbi went on the shorter path, and he discovered it was a dead end. The path led directly to the city, but it was blocked by gardens, by orchards. It was inaccessible. He had to turn around. And at the intersection, he said, hey kid, didn't you tell me this was the short way? And the boy said, didn't I tell you that was the long way? And so this story from the Talmud illustrates how sometimes shortcuts don't always lead us to our destination, and how slow and steady may get us there much more often. Back to the story of the Exodus, Egyptian slavery, as awful as it was, at least it was known and familiar. And in a real sense, freedom in the desert was scarier for the Israelites. Nevertheless, God pushed them. God challenged them. And the Israelites grew as a result. Because sometimes the longer path is ultimately better. I can think of an example in my own life when I took a gap year in Israel after high school on Nativ, which is the conservative movement USY Year in Israel program. And before I left, I had a voice in my head wondering, do I want to do this? I'll be a year plus older than everyone. I'll push back college, push back work, push back everything. I did it anyway, and I'm so glad that I did. And even though I was older than my friends in college, and they did call me grandpa as a result, in college I was more sure of myself, of who I was, and how I wanted to spend my time. That extra year gave me so much more clarity. When we hear the temptation to take a shortcut, let's also listen carefully to the voice saying it's the long path that may be short.